Okay, hydrogen is produced at the negative electrode. Describe the test show it's hydrogen. So what you would do is let's change the colour of the pen, you place a lighted splint into the gas. It will burn with a squeaky pop. 1 mark for each of those two. Make sure that when you don't say do the pop test, because you don't get the marks for that. What's the name of the gas that forms at the positive electrode? So we just come back up to here for a moment. This is the electrolyte, and this contains sodium ions and sulfate ions, but it's a solution, which means it contains water, which means it will contain H plus and OH minus ions. At the positive electrode, so these two ions will go to the positive electrode, but the simplest is going to react first. The simplest one here is the OH minus, sorry. So remember, OH minus equation, I'm going to write it in here, is 4 lots of OH minus makes 2 lots of H2O plus oxygen, releasing 4 electrons. So the gas that's formed is going to be oxygen. Define what is meant by electrolysis. So electrolysis is using DC electricity to break down ionic compounds into simpler substances. In terms of marks, using DC and then breaking them down to simpler substances is where you get your credit for that. Okay, next one, calculate the concentration. So to do concentration, we're doing one of my favorite triangles, a chicken vindaloo, so amount, concentration, and volume. And it says in here we've got 28.4 grams of this chemical in a solution of 250. So let's put the equation down. So concentration is going to be the amount divided by volume. The amount is 28.4. The volume is 250, but be careful, it's centimeters cubed. So I have to divide that by 1,000 to make that work. So let's just work that out on my calculator. So 28.4 divided by 250, but that's divided by 1,000. And that's giving me an answer here of 113.6, but check, it wants it to 3 significant figures. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Because that 4th figure is 5 or bigger, that's going to become 114 grams per decimeter cubed. Marks for this, there are 3 marks. So you've got 1 mark for getting the answer in the right significant figures, another mark for working this out, and 1 mark for doing this bit, remembering to divide by 1,000. Carrying on, write the formula for sodium sulfate. So what we've got to do here is using that method to work formulas out. Sodium is Na+, so it wants to make 1 bond. Sulfate is SO4 2-, so it wants to make 2 bonds. Cross them over. Sodium gets a 2. The sulfate gets a 1, so the formula here is Na2SO4. In figure 11, the gas given off at the electrodes is collected. However, the actual volume of gas cannot be measured using these test tubes. Suggest what apparatus we could use. So we just go back to figure 11 for a moment. If you look at figure 11, these test tubes that they've got here have no markings on them at all. So all we need to do is have some kind of piece of equipment that has markings on, and the simplest thing we could have there would be a measuring cylinder, because you've got the numbers down the side to help us read the volume. So here we would have a measuring cylinder, and then state what could be added to the circuit to show that the current is flowing. Well, the simplest thing to add to that circuit is a bulb, because the bulb would then light up. But you could also say, you could add an ammeter, because that would also show you when the circuit is working.